we are actually really thrilled to be able to have Merwan Hade come up from Microsoft Flow, Program Manager, and join us today to talk a little bit about Microsoft Flow. Thank you. So, thank you, Merwan.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, sorry. I love the tagline, work less, do more.
Absolutely.
Which is great. So can you tell us a little bit about MS Flow and the concept?
Sure. So Microsoft Flow is a workflow tool that's targeted at non-developers, essentially the citizen developers that Dave alluded to earlier. And we're trying to help these personas become smarter and work more efficiently by automating workflows across their favorite apps and services. And when we talk about Microsoft Flow, there's 4 key scenarios that come to mind. The first one is this ability to get notifications. So for example, whenever there's a new file in a service like SharePoint or OneDrive or Google Drive, you can instantly get an email or a push notification or a text message to your phone. You can also use Flow to copy files. Like let's say something gets added to Dropbox. You can instantly move it from Dropbox into another service like OneDrive, OneDrive for Business, SharePoint, Google Drive, etc. You can also use Flow to collect data. So for example, let's say you want to keep track of what people are saying about your business on Twitter. You can set up a flow that will monitor Twitter for a certain hashtag. When a new tweet comes in, run some sentiment analysis on it, see if it's positive or negative, and then put it into a service like SQL where you can spot trends over time. And then lastly, you can use Flow to automate approvals. So for example, there's a new file somewhere, there's a new lead in CRM, there's a new entity that gets added in Kintone, for instance. You can send an approval to any person in your organization. They get a push notification, they get an email, they can see all of their approvals in an approval center, given their request, and whatever feedback they provide can then be used as part of the workflow. So really the idea is that we're empowering users, these business users that aren't traditionally developers, to connect to a whole host of services.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Perfectly aligned with our business user focus. What does the ecosystem look like right now with you guys, and how exactly does a flow work?
Absolutely. So the ecosystem is rich and growing week by week. In fact, this slide is already out of date because the built-in connectivity is to like almost 230 services, and this is just in the last few weeks. And our connectivity is to all sorts of different cloud services, from more traditional Microsoft services like SharePoint, OneDrive, Excel, to also more third-party services from Google, as well as other services like Facebook, Twitter, etc. So really, it's a wide gamut of things spanning file providers, databases, web APIs, etc. You can also connect to on-premises services. If you're connecting to SharePoint on-prem or SQL on-prem, you can do that using data gateways. You can also bring in your own custom connector if we don't have one of the connectors that's out there, or if you're trying to connect to one of your line of business existing apps.
Gotcha.
So really, we have you covered from a connectivity perspective.
Gotcha. Okay. I know this is a quick example here, right, where Kintone would be essentially like a CRM type of Kintone application, and then the trigger would basically send off an email, right, a notification, and then push the information there for a topic and last name and the data. So just an example, I guess this would be a flow creation as opposed to a template, right?
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. So this is sort of creating a flow from scratch, and you can choose from a variety of triggers. Triggers can be manual, they can be schedule-based, or in this case, event-driven. For example, when a new lead is created in Kintone, you're sending an email, and when you're sending that email, you can make reference to properties from the trigger or any other action. So in this case, we're sending it to the owner, and we're including things like the topic and the last name that's in that particular entity that got added.
Excellent. Okay. And so, yeah, this is awesome. We're really excited about this. I know just this week we're launching a handful of new triggers on the platform that will really increase, I think, the effectiveness, the power, and the productivity of these flows. So, yeah, thank you, Merwan, for coming up. I really appreciate it. Excited to be working with you guys.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right.